the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on a Friday morning. We are so glad that you join us each and every day here on Auburn Blitz, whenever and wherever it is that you join us, and make an Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. It's Brett and Faith here on a Friday morning, and our program and our podcast is always brought to you by the Glenda Mitchell Law Firm. And if you're looking for an outstanding attorney that will defend and protect you and fight for you, it's Glenda Mitchell. Glad to be associated with Glenda Mitchell and her whole team. Faith, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good to see you too. Happy Friday.
Always happy Friday, and it's nice outside. Even if it's nasty outside, we go happy Friday because you've made it through another week. And so got a lot to talk about. Got a big game tomorrow in Neville Arena with Alabama coming in. So I know everybody's looking forward to that and how that's going to play out. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show, and some comments from Stephen Pearl yesterday, some interesting comments from him, some interesting takes. And then basically the commissioner coming out and siding with NCAA against the Bediako situation. So we'll talk about that some, but more from Alex Golish. I mean, we couldn't sandwich all of that into one podcast yesterday. It was way too much to digest. And so we want to talk about some more things he had to say specifically about the tight end position. I know that is a point of emphasis for you. It always has been, with how terrible, I hate to say it, and how unproductive that room has been for Auburn for a long time now. And we've had way too many podcasts about that. So hopefully some good things coming out of what we're going to talk about today. Hey, can Auburn make the playoff this year? I just want to pose that question to everybody. Can Auburn make the playoff this year? Got some interesting stats on teams that haven't made the playoff yet, some of the winningest programs in college football history. So I'm going to ask you, in comparison to some of those, who do you think will make the playoff first of the ones that are left out there that have not made the playoff yet, that are some of the winningest programs in college football, and Auburn's one of those? Who do you feel like can make the playoff first? So we got a lot to get into this morning.
Brett, it is February 6th, and that's what we're talking about.
Well, I've got a reason behind it. It's not let's break this thing down and let's look at the schedule and see what the wins. This is a 30,000-foot view. I gave you my word. We're not going to talk about the Baylor game. We're not going to talk about that. We're talking about spring, but I did see this yesterday, and I sent it over to you, and I thought it was very interesting. So I think everybody will be intrigued by that, and I just want your take. I want to see who you feel like out of that group of teams has the best chance of making the playoff first. So, hey, you got a great quarterback coming in, Superman cape on and all, right?
That's right.
That's kind of what we talked about the other day. So, but anyway, a lot to dive into this morning. But JJ already in there with a comment said we've been waiting for decent, consistent tight end play for about as long as we've been waiting on the same from the offensive line. And that's a good place to start. Alex Golish, that's where his pedigree comes from. That's where his knowledge comes from. That's where he cut his teeth as a coach, as a tight end coach. And, the things that we were talking about before we heard Alex Golish say anything kind of resonated true, kind of our assumptions, Faith, on what we said about how he handled players in the portal. That, well, we got confirmation that he went to some of them and said, hey, love you, want you here, make a decision. I got to move on one way or the other. We both need to make a decision. Well, tight end, we wanted to see what his emphasis was coming into Auburn, and we saw in the portal it was very big, to go out and he got a bunch of guys to come into this room. He kept Ryan Gee in this room. But I think this could finally be, with the pedigree of him and this coaching staff and the emphasis they're going to place on it, could be a productive position for Auburn finally.
And you know how much Alex Golish and the staff has talked about wanting to run the ball too. So with that tight end position, it's not just about whether or not they have hands or what they can create for themselves. It's also about being able to block. And there has not been somebody that's really fulfilling that part of the position and the role of being a tight end in the last, I don't even know how long at Auburn, because that has not been something that any of them have been able to do. Okay. And, still having a big guy, a 6'5", 230-pound guy that is able to really create and open up some space for whether or not Byron Brown is going to be the one to run the ball, or Jeremiah Cobb or Bryson Washington, whatever it might be, to create and open up holes. That's still, we've talked about the offensive line and how they haven't had a really strong presence at all at Auburn either. And so, just adding somebody to the end of that to help, I think he has so many goals and expectations for the offensive line and the tight end position that the way he went out and recruited, it looks like he's got a real plan that he's going to put into fruition.
Yeah. What does that look like? Of course, Larry Scott will be coaching the tight ends. You get, Xavier Newsom from Howard, who he coached. He was the head coach at Howard. He brings Xavier Newsom in. Of course, like I said, you got Ryan Gee that stays in this room. You get Jonathan Eccles from South Florida. Arliss Boardingham. Look, I think that was a massive pickup. I really think that Arliss Boardingham had already proven at Florida before he got injured that he was going to be a guy that was going to make some waves. Then you get Jake Johnson from Bowling Green. And then you get DJ Broughton, from North Carolina. And so I just think that when you look at it from this standpoint, that you got a bunch of guys, and he says it right here. He said, as you look into this room, you got a bunch of guys in that room that look different. You got all types of different size guys, different skill sets, all that kind of stuff. And, you want them to be versatile. You want to take a guy that's a good blocker and make him a good pass catcher. Okay. You want to take a good pass catcher and teach him how to be a good blocker. You're trying to create guys that, like you and I said last year, when they roll into the game, that they're not so predictable. Oh, well, he's in. They're definitely going to be blocking. They're bringing him in for an extra blocker. Or he's in. He's a threat to catch the ball. He's not going to block. He's going to go out for a pass. You try to be the least predictable you possibly can with that position. And that's why it's such a coveted position. And I think, Faith, the reason we talk about it so much is it's been non-existent for Auburn. It's really not been an option.
And you could use it in such different ways, like you said, to really throw off the defense and not know, because when you have somebody that can do both, they can be so versatile. And that's where Auburn just hasn't had any scheme in the last couple of years, or creativity. Right. And that position within itself can be so creative, and you can create so many different options of what to do.
Yep. I think I misspoke. Jake Johnson's from North Carolina. I was looking at my list completely wrong. But Jake Johnson, obviously coming in from North Carolina. Arliss Boardingham transferring from Florida and Bowling Green. I do want to make sure everybody's correct on that. And then, of course, DJ Broughton, I brought him up as well. But anyway, you got a whole bunch of new guys, and you got a mixed bag of experience. And so I think, and he went on to say, and I think you may have some of his quotes there, Faith, as far as how critical, what he feels like about this position and how critical it is.
Yeah, he was saying the ability to create matchup issues, formation variation, and being able to be multiple, changing year to year, finding the best 11 and then the next best 11. We've been at our best, and when we've been able to play in some heavier sets. I think in this conference, especially with the way defensive lines are, you got to equalize edges. You've got to be able to create some formation variation. And I mean, that's what tight ends allow is to create the variation of mismatch and size issues. And so he's got a plan, and he knows that position very well, and what they can contribute to the line, or using their hands and getting yards.
Yeah. And what a matchup problem it causes if you got good tight ends, because when they release off the line, they're going to be most of the time covered by a linebacker, and that's usually a great matchup if you got an athletic tight end that can run. Also, from a standpoint of when they get an open field, their size advantage over secondary guys. The ability to go up, and they just create a nightmare when you have a good one. Now, if you don't have one and defenses don't have to take in account for that position, you're really handcuffed, and you're really making it easier. Like kind of Coach Golis said, you're not even, they're not even considering that position because it's a non-threat. So, man, it could be a massive addition. And like Tubbs just said, I'm late in, but have y'all discussed super excited about Brad Johnson's son. He torched it. Very big pickup there. Again, it's kind of what we just mentioned. There's a lot of potential here. There is a lot of potential in this room. I don't know that we could really say that over the last several years. I know that we've had some guys in that room. We were hopeful, and when I look back at it and look at Brandon Frazier, maybe he did catch, a raw deal with injuries. Never really could get healthy, never could get in the flow, never could stay in the lineup consistently to fill. They tried. I think Auburn tried to use him, and I think he tried, but he just never could get consistent. And I know the Preston Howard experiment was terrible. And I don't even.
Well, that's the problem though, Brett, is that look at now how many tight ends you have transferring in, and look at last year and the room of tight ends once Brandon Frazier was not able to come back, and the development there was none. And that's where a huge problem lied. And it was honestly in the coaching in a lot of that. There was no development.
When you have to take an offensive lineman and convert him to a tight end because you just don't have a room really, and it's not a cut on Tate Johnson. It's not. It's just that's not what he was recruited to be. And you were so thin in that room and really down to no options that you're like, hey, man, let's move him over there. At least he can block a little bit, and we can bring him in. But again, it was a non-threat position.
Well, and you were trying to put Perry Thompson in there, who is, soaking wet, 180 pounds.
Anyway, it was a failed experiment. It shouldn't be that way. A run heavy team, and Hugh Freeze used to say that all the time. We're going to run the ball. We're going to be multiple. We're going to run the ball. Well, tight end should be a priority, and it wasn't. And so now I just think there's a lot of hopeful expectations. And Alex Golesh seems to be a guy that there's not a lot of fluff in what he says. He says a lot in his answers. He does. But there's no fluff to it. It's real matter of fact. It's real to the point. And I think he's being very open when he's saying what you just went back to say, not to go back and repeat what you said, but the tight end spot is so crucial and critical for us offensively, simply in the ability to create matchup problems. How many times, not tooting our own horn on here, have we said that with that absence on offense, it kills what you can do. It makes you predictable. So I'm looking forward to this. I think in the spring, man, you and I have got we've got a list a mile long of things we're excited about looking at. Offensive line, defensive line, tight end position, the new running backs. Byron Brown, of course, is like everybody's going to be huddled around that guy watching him. Saw another clip yesterday from somebody that said they're just excited to see a quarterback that may actually throw the ball in an 8A game. We actually may get to see our starting quarterback in an 8A game setting, in a true game, actually go out and throw the ball around. What a novice idea, right?
Yeah, it's unbelievable to know that might actually be happening.
So the 8A game should be exciting. It should be, and we're looking forward to it. It was fine last year. You didn't miss anything. You picked a good weekend to be gone. I'll just be honest. I sent you messages during the game. I'm like, or whatever. It was just a practice. It was just another practice. I'm like, this isn't any more than what we've been watching for the last 3 weeks. So it'll be different this year.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be hopefully there'll be great weather like it was this past year. Because I think a lot of Auburn fans, a lot of Auburn people will be excited because it's a brand new team, Faith. It's a brand new team. I mean,
I think there's going to be a lot more people.
I think so. I think there'll be a lot of turnout for that. And then, of course, as we get closer to that, we'll promo that and kind of the stuff that's going to be around that week. So, all right, let's talk about some of our partners here on the program. Again, Glenda Mitchell Law Firm, our presenting partner every day. So glad to have them part of Auburn Blitz. Also glad to have our other partners as well. And we start with
Sensigreen. For air that is warm and clean, call on Sensigreen. They are the carrier experts in the state of Alabama, proud supporters of Auburn athletics and a proud supporter of Auburn Blitz. With how the weather goes back and forth, you want to make sure you've got a unit that is going to be reliable, and Carrier is the unit that you want to have in your home. So make sure you call on Sensigreen because they're going to be the ones that save you hundreds of dollars, and everybody loves to save money. And you just want to trust the people that are going to be working on important things in your home.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that is as important as the quality of the services. Who you have coming in and out of your house to service all of your stuff. So check them out. Scout Program Management, talk about great people. Scout Program Management, everybody in that building is great. I mean, they take the project, your project, from the pre-construction phase all the way to the finished product. And I just can't say enough about how great Sloan and Charles and Jay and the whole group. I know I leave people out, but they are all over the state. They have big projects going on with schools and municipalities, and they're who you want to be part of, or you want to hire to be part of your project. So check them out, Scout Program Management. The Kart Source, Alabama's premier golf cart superstore. Easy Go, Cushman, Yamaha, Club Car, whatever it is that you're looking for, they've got it. We're going to be there in a couple of weeks on Wednesday the 18th. We can't wait. Again, giving you permission to buy an unbelievable golf cart at a great price. And I saw where they're running some deals on Facebook. You need to go check them out. If you're not a friend with them on Facebook, they send deals out all the time because they're making room for new golf carts. So make sure you check them out right there on Highway 280, the Kart Source.
Bunkers in downtown Auburn, that's going to be the best place for the perfect mix of sports, food, music, and fun in downtown Auburn. There's nowhere else that you are going to go and have 2 stages with so much going on, some great happy hour deals, great food. I can attest to that. So head over to Bunkers in downtown Auburn. They got 50 parking spaces. And if you're not able to go to the game tomorrow, head over to Bunkers because they're going to have it on probably every single one of their hundreds in there.
Every single one. So great partners there. We'll get to some more of those a little bit later on. Post-game show tomorrow, Bama Willie. Yes, we will have a post-game show tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Hopefully a jubilant, fun post-game show after Auburn knocks off Alabama. I hope. We'll talk about that game here in just a minute. But I do, finishing up football talk, since you gave me heck and looked at me like, what in the world? Why are you talking about the playoffs? So after Brett gets his heart skinned next week, you might not be able to eat at Bunkers. I mean, like I'm getting all these bad omens, guys. Like I just got all these bad vibes coming from this thing. So maybe not. Maybe I'll be fine.
You're gonna be.
Faith will be perfectly healthy. It'll be like the heart of a 7-year-old, just brand new, ready to go. And they're going to be like, hey, man, y'all need to get this guy to the back
You not
fast.
say that.
So anyway, maybe not. We'll see. All right. Come on, Bama Willie, don't be that way. All right. So could Auburn make the playoffs this year? I'd love to pose this kind of stuff to kind of get everybody's mind rolling. And the reason I said that is because I saw a graphic, all-time winningest college football teams that have not made the playoff yet. You know, Auburn played in the BCS National Championship game against Florida State 2013. The very next year, they create the playoff, right? And so since then, it's been a drought. Auburn has not made the playoffs since the inception. Hey, but there's some other really prominent programs out there that have not made the playoff too. The winningest playoff or the winningest program that has not made the playoff to date is Nebraska, 931 wins all time, and that is 8th in the line of all time college football programs. USC, not South Carolina, but Southern Cal, 891 wins. They're 10th all time. They have not made a playoff, and Lord, they paid Lincoln Riley boatloads of money and all this stuff. They still haven't made the playoffs. I'll give you the honor of letting everybody know who the next team is.
Yours truly, the Auburn Tigers, at 809 wins.
And that's 13th all time on the list. So you got a 8th, a 10th, and a 13th all time. And then there's some other teams of note. Florida's down at 21st with 770. Wisconsin at 25th, 751. You got some teams smattered in there. You got Virginia Tech up there, 781. They're 18th all time. West Virginia's right behind Auburn. But really the three that stand out right here are Nebraska, USC, and Auburn. Right there in the top 15. 3 top 15 winning programs all time, all with over 800 plus wins. Nebraska with over 900. Have not made the playoffs. So of those three, Faith, I'll put you on the spot. Which one of those programs makes the playoff first? Or does somebody behind them? I'll even add more intrigue to this. Is there a team behind them that you go?
I would say probably out of this whole list, you would hope it would be Auburn. You would hope. And I'm going to go with that, I think.
You're going to go with the hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Next year.
I mean, but realistically, I mean, looking at this, and I know that we're going to try to do the best to take our orange and blue color glasses off, but Nebraska has just been, they haven't been much in a long time. Mm-hmm. USC, I mean, now in the Big Ten, I mean, can they navigate their way out of that? They got to learn to play defense first.
See, the thing is Auburn just has the schedule, and especially with this new SEC schedule that they have, it's tough.
It's tough. Florida's the same way. I mean, if I look at this list, I'm thinking that I'm going to say Southern Cal's got the best chance of making the playoff first. I really do. I mean, Nebraska, they've gotten better, but they're nowhere near what they were in the 90s. Auburn has made a national championship game. They're the last of this bunch to have made a national championship game. But it's been such a roller coaster since 2013 for Auburn. And Beth Willie said, here comes the media hype machine again. Byram is the next camp. Nobody said that. Auburn's going to turn it around. 5 losing seasons, praying about the offensive line. Can we just get a winning season? Like, that's what we're saying. Look, we understand that this is meant to be fun. Everybody calm down. It's not saying that Auburn's going to make the playoff this year. I'm just saying, can they?
I'm just saying, when you are rebuilding a program, it takes 3 to 5 years to actually see some sort of result, product change, whatever. And with how big of a turnover every year to year is with the transfer portal and things, that you don't know what next year could look like, but it's supposed to take a coaching staff a few years
Right.
to actually be able to turn a program into their own program, kind of weed out some things. And that's why I think Auburn in 3 to 5 years could make the playoffs. But that doesn't mean you're going to have, obviously, you're not going to have the same quarterback because he'll be gone. And a lot of the guys that transfer in will only be there for 1 to 2 years. So you can't even say, oh, in 3 to 5 years with Alex Golish and what he's doing to the program, it's going to be, so much stronger, because each year is bringing in, hopefully it's not going to be another 30 some guys, but it's going to still have a huge turnover that it's basically half of a new team.
Oh, I think that's the new reality of it. So is it really out of the realm of possibility? Is it really unrealistic to think that if you get a dynamic quarterback like Byron Brown and you get good enough pieces around him, and I think the wide receivers will be fine. I think obviously the running back room is very exciting. I think the offensive line, bringing in some consistent players that have played together, is massive. Now you got to make it all come to fruition, but the quarterback position is so dynamic, such an impactful position, maybe the most impactful position in all of sports. And you get somebody that's as dynamic as Byron Brown, has proven he can be, not speculating, has proven. And then people can say, well, he did it at South Florida. Well, you know what? Maybe that's even better, because if he did it at South Florida, and your argument for him saying, oh, can he do it at Auburn, maybe garners a little bit more credence, because he did it with maybe guys that weren't at the level, at some of the teams as he was playing. I mean, regardless of who the competition was, he went out and threw for 3,000 yards and ran for 1,000, and he did play some pretty good opponents, and they beat Florida last year. And I know Florida was not very good, but still, they went to the Swamp and they beat them. And that to me he's going to have to prove it here, but he's proven that he
still is bringing his resume.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
He is. Like, this is not, again, a guy that you're sitting there going, well, he was highly touted coming out of high school and he struggled at the school he was before, so let's just hope we can turn him around, kind of like what we've done the last 2 or 3 years with quarterbacks, and it didn't work out. This guy has proven he can do it. Now, whether he's able to do it at Auburn or not remains to be seen. They haven't taken a snap yet, so we'll just have to wait. But I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was interesting that Auburn is third on this list, winningest programs yet to make a playoff. Could they make a playoff this year with a dynamic quarterback and things coming together? And when would be a realistic time frame, if not, for them? And would they be one of the first out of this group to make it to the playoff? Is Nebraska going to get there before them? Is Southern Cal going to get there before them? Who knows? So it'll be interesting. So that's all it was. It was all in fun. So Jeff said, finally somebody focusing on the weapon that a strong tight end room brings. Absolutely. We're here for it at the Auburn Blitz. We've been saying it for well over a year now, that can we please get somebody that can be productive out of that room and can develop? So, yes, and then we've been concentrating on the offensive line a bunch, but this is big. All right, what happened to AU has to win now? $30 million on a roster equals no patience from the fan base. We brought that number up yesterday, Faith. I'm not saying that this number is going to move every year. $30 million is a lot of money to most everybody in this world. I don't care how much money you have. $30 million is a lot of money. There's already teams spending $50 million on a roster. What's it going to be next year? Do you think the market's going to go down? Do you think that a top ranked quarterback, if he's worth $4 or $5 million this year, is going to all of a sudden go down to $3 next year? Do you think a top-rated wide receiver that's worth $2 this year is going to only be worth $1 million next year? This thing's only going to continue to go up. So, it's kind of like I gave this analysis yesterday, Faith. I don't know if you heard it before you came in to the show or not, but that's like taking a 7A program that's won 3 or 4 state championships. I know there's only 6 now, but in the past, a 7A program that's won 3 or 4 state championships and going down to 2A or 1A and taking a team that's won 3 or 4 state championships in a row and go, hey, y'all go play each other the next 3 or 4 years. I think we already know what's going to happen. The 7A program is going to beat their brains out. Doesn't mean that they don't have a good program, but they're not playing on an equal playing field. So There was an athletic director that came out, or a president said, look, if we find out that we can't keep up NIL-wise, we're just going to start scheduling a bunch of teams that have comparable NILs to us. I think it's a realistic statement that, look, you may be spending $30 million, but if all of your competition spending 50, if all your rivals are spending 40, 50, that doesn't necessarily translate that they're going to beat you every time. But what it does say is that you have to be almost perfect on your evaluation of talent, and you have to go out and almost play perfect to have a chance to win. They got a lot bigger margin for error than you do.
Yeah, there's no question. I don't know what the right answer is with any of this, and nobody does, I don't think. But, I mean, you brought up a great point.
I just think that $30 million number, that's all great and stuff. You can tell them to hang on, right?
I'm trying.
But that number is going to move. Is what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know what to tell people on that. It's always going to be a moving target. So, yes, you spend a lot of money, but there's no limitations. This thing's going to keep going up. Are you willing to continue to try to go with it? Are you going to try to get in the arms race and try to continue to raise your ceiling? So, yeah, they just got an NIL offer there. They couldn't wait. They had to go ahead and call. So, anyway, we can talk about that more a little bit later on. So let's talk about some more of our partners, because that's what's important to us here on our show. And again, we cannot do it without them.
Oliver Ross for all of your party needs, whatever it might be. If you're hosting, if you have a work convention, sorority, fraternity, day party, Oliver Ross is going to be the bartending service for you. They are professional licensed bartenders. They go bring in all their stuff, break it all down when they're done, and head out. You won't even know that they were there, except your guests probably will. But you don't want Brett and I to be the bartenders. You want to have Oliver Ross, the professionals.
And no doubt. Definitely want the pros, don't want us. Russell Medical Center, one of the top 3 hospitals in the state of Alabama. Great facilities, great doctors. That's what you're looking for. When it comes to your health care, there's nothing more important in the world than your health care. So go to Russell Medical Center. That you don't have the hassle of the big city and all the things that come with that. They'll get you in and out. Faith and I will be there next Wednesday for our noon show. We will be participating in Heart Screening Month. We want everybody. Hey, look, you know what? I hate going to the doctor as much as anybody, but look, it's one of those things you got to do to take care of yourself. You want to be around for a long time, so you want to catch things early. So hopefully we'll go in and have good heart scans. If not, if they find something, you'll get it fixed. That's the whole thing. So go out and check them out. They're providing heart scans for people, and you need to check them out at Russell Medical Center.
Great prices, and you don't even have to do anything with insurance. They've got 3 different screenings that they do. So, I'm excited, Brett.
Yes, hopefully everything will check out really, really well. But everybody needs to go check out Russell Medical Center and Alex City Marine right there on Highway 280. I mean, all these businesses are just right off 280 for your convenience. I mean, one after another. Sales, service, and storage. Excursion and Landau pontoons. They got the Blackfin center consoles, as you can see right here if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. Call them 256-215-3474. As we start creeping towards spring, they'll be announcing when their boat show is. We'll let everybody know about that. I'm sure we'll be out there for the boat show, but now's the time to get a good price on a boat. now's the time to go pick out the one you want. So go check out Alex City Marine right there on Highway 280 in Alexander City. So, the Crazy Cajuns have told Lane it's now. Well, you know what? They have spent an inordinate amount of money on this roster and gone out, and the way he's kind of done things, they are like, hey, you got to win now. But what are they going to do? Fire him? I mean, like, you can say all that stuff, but they poured the money in to try to do it right now. So is Texas with Arch Manning. We've already been through all that. We've talked about that. We went out and got 2 outstanding running backs. They went and got Cam Coleman. They're trying to do everything they can to put the pieces around Arch Manning before he leaves. And this will be his last year. So they're trying to get all those puzzle pieces put together to send him out in, I guess, lore, I reckon, in Texas history is what they want him to go down as the next guy to win, a Manning to win a national championship at Texas. So a true win is a different vibe, energy, and edge to the program. Hey, we said that too. Back during the season, Faith, you and I said it multiple times on post-game shows, on just normal podcasts, that they needed a change at the top of this program, a different mentality. Edge is a great word, Jeff. I think I used that a few times. You got to have a guy that's a little bit edgy, man.
I love the sassy. I love it.
The sassiness. Yeah.
Love it.
I want you to tell Coach Golish, I really appreciate the sassiness that you bring to this program. I think that'd be great. I think he'd appreciate that.
I mean, I just think he brings a different energy and he's got the sass. I love that he doesn't use it with media towards them. I like that he
not yet anyway.
Yeah. I like that he uses it in the comments when he's talking about specific things because he recognizes there have been deficits in areas and he's not attacking the old coaching staff, but he's acknowledging.
He's getting his point across without being blunt about it. He's saying, look, I understand. We know it's not been the best around here. We're going to try to change that. We're not going to look in the rearview mirror. We're going to move forward. So I like that part about him. But yeah, I think he brings a level of, I think you said this the other day when you were talking about his comments from the Senior Bowl. It's not an arrogant, it's just confidence in that, and he likes to mix it up. He's not sitting there taking, shots at people, but he's got confidence in his abilities and his team's ability. So he's not going to back down from anybody. He may say something that's a little bit of a jab here and there, but it's all in fun.
Yeah, it's not in the same arrogance air that Lane Kiffin speaks in.
Yeah, it's totally different. I mean, it's apples to oranges completely. Yep, Blind Squirrel. Yep, Will Muschamp joined. They're doing everything they can. I mean, over at Texas, so Sark. I mean, it's just kind of a push your chips to the middle of the table for him too. There's a lot of programs out there pushing chips to the middle of the table next year. There's only going to be one that can win a national championship, and which one of those programs are going to be disappointed? So, and then what programs can come out of nowhere and be a surprise? We'll have to wait and see. There's going to be a lot that keeps people on the edge of their seat. All right, a must-win Saturday tomorrow. And what can you say? I mean, this is a big game for both programs here at the halfway point of the season. We won't dive into the total matchups and stuff. We'll do more of that at lunch today. We want to let everybody know that we'll be on location today. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. So we're not going to get to everything this morning, so you have to stay with us till noon. Don't stay with us till noon. You'll have to tune us in at noon for the rest of this. But, Faith, I mean, no doubt, at home, I mean, you only got, 5 more games at home in the SEC play? Need to get this one. Of course, it's the Iron Bowl of basketball, so you don't have to put a lot of extra oomph on this thing. I think Stephen Pearl said yesterday, to his team. He said, "You want to make the fans happy? Just go beat Alabama." And you really don't have to say anything outside of that.
I think the students started camping out yesterday for the game.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's a lot of pressure coming from all different angles of this game, but, you know, Alabama's coming off of a win at home, against Texas A&M, coming into Auburn, and so, you know, maybe they have that feeling that they kinda have it more together than they did before, and so they're coming in with a different confidence. Auburn needs to have the confidence that they did when they were playing at Florida. That needs to be the team that shows up.
Without a doubt. And, Neville Arena will be beyond wild. The environment will be great. Aiden Holloway, once again, I know that's not a storyline really anymore because we're a year removed from all that, but still, he's going to roll in there. And hey, look, the Charles Bediako thing, that ruling today, I mean, how's that going to play out? And, Sankey coming out basically back in the NCAA saying, no, we don't really need to be doing this. There's a lot of drama around. Maybe
I'm
not.
so excited to get into it at the noon show because that's where we're really going to dive into it. And I'm really looking forward to just talking about it and reading the comments of what everybody thinks. So make sure during the noon show that you're going to be commenting because we're looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say.
Yeah, so I think you just kind of tease that about as well as you can tease it. Make sure we're going to be basketball heavy at noon. We're going to talk about all the different things, the comments from Sankey, the comments from Steven about Bediako. We'll dive into the numbers of the game, the matchup. Auburn is a 1.5-point favorite at home. And I don't think there's any surprise. But we'll look at how both of these teams match up, offensively and at the end of the day, all the drama and all the chanting and all the G League dropout and Aiden Holloway coming back and all that junk, when you tip the ball, all that goes out the window and you look at the numbers and how both teams match up against each other. It's not a bad matchup for Auburn, actually. It's kind of crazy when you look at it. I'll keep beating the dead horse into the ground that Auburn's biggest Achilles heel right now is depth. I like what Auburn puts on the floor. I think the coaching staff's doing a great job of really mixing those guys up and trying to give guys breaks, when they can, trying to steal minutes. It is concerning, but what they're doing right now, what those guys are putting out on the floor is really, really kind of amazing, to be honest, because you're really playing with 6 guys. I know we've been saying 7, but you're really just playing with 6. And that is almost unheard of at this level.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that. All right, we got a lot to end here with. Today we'll be on location at Southern Prep Academy. So a new partner of ours, private school here in Tallapoosa County with a new vision and new mindset. And we're excited to talk about it. And we'll be there and we'll give everybody the rundown about Southern Prep. So you need to make sure you tune us in at noon. We'll be live on location for that. Tomorrow after the game, we will have a post-game show brought to you by Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine. So again, always looking forward to our post-game show. So we need to make sure all of you out there subscribe so you get that reminder when we go live in case you're all caught up in that big win from Auburn and you go, oh, Brett and Faith are on Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine post-game show. You need to tune in. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done that. By the way, 15,000 of you plus now have done that. So really appreciative of that. And I know you are, Faith.
Yes, thank you. And Brett, you're kind of teasing something else coming out today at 2 o'clock.
Yes, that's why I wore it today. That's exactly
and on the
why
front row with Faith coming out this afternoon at 2 o'clock. So make sure you guys tune in, see who it is. We've got baseball coming up soon. So a week from today is the very first series at home that starts. So maybe that's what it has to do with. So make sure at 2 o'clock you go and check that video out. It's going to be awesome. I really enjoyed filming it and editing it yesterday, I still just had a big smile on my face.
See, I didn't get a chance to go to this one. Sophie did this one with you, so I have no idea. So I'm just like all of you out there, guys. I'm just waiting to see it come out. So again, go to our YouTube page. That will drop today. Just a lot of stuff dropping today and tomorrow. We're excited. So again, walking billboard over here for that part of our program with Faith over there on the front row with all these great Auburn athletes. You and Sophie will be going out to gymnastics tonight to cover gymnastics for the first time. So I know you guys are excited about that. Coach Graba is great. When we see him, he's been on the show with us. I think that, he's always receptive to everything we do. So I know you guys are looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So we'll see.
All right, everybody. Again, we'll be up at noon. Hey, Blind Squirrel, appreciate you too. And I did have somebody come up to me yesterday and tell me they love the way that we end all of our shows, that it's like it sends them into their day on a positive note. And that's what we're trying to do. That's why we send everybody out with like Faith says, hope everybody has the best day ever. And I try to tell everybody to be a shining light, to go do something good to people and go do something good for people. You never know when they need that positive reinforcement. So that was good to hear. I meant to tell you that yesterday, Faith, amongst 800 other things that we talked about. But that's nice to have people come up and say that.
And we mean it. So
we do. We don't just say it, as a canned statement leaving the show. We really mean it. We hope all of you go out and do good things each and every day. And we appreciate all of you so very much. So I will let you send us out.
Hope everyone has the best day and best weekend too.
And we'll see you again at noon for more of the Auburn Blitz.